Welcome to the pilot episode.
Thank you.
I'm very happy to have you here. For our viewers and listeners, I'm just going to give a brief introduction and ask you to introduce yourself further. Then, um, I have been on a journey of exploring spirituality like all my life, basically, but more prominently the last 9 years or so. And when I first started my journey in Canada, I met Rain, and we had the same teacher. We went to the same workshops, and we were walking on parallel paths and experiencing different things in a similar way. So that was always fun. Like no matter what was going on in my life, it seemed to be somehow mirrored in Rain's life. So I wanted to bring her in because you do a lot of you do a lot of spiritual work, and you've developed some methods that I haven't even gotten into yet. And I thought it would be really cool to talk about some of those and to just talk to you and see how the concept of a spiritual life actually applies to your physical everyday experience. I think a, that's an aspect of keep using the word spirituality, but like that's an aspect that I think is missing from a lot of the content out there. Is like, how do we bring it in? Like, how does that become normal? How does that become mine? And I thought this would be a great opportunity for you to share your experiences with us, and maybe help our listeners even along their journey a little. Do you want to expand on that?
Yes, sure. I would just first like to say that my voice comes from the heart of the Nicola Valley, from the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Squexmix, Nliki-Pamuks, and Silks peoples in what is colonially known as Merritt, BC. I honor the elders, seen and unseen, past, present, and future, and the deep cultural and spiritual presence that continues here today with Earth as Mother as we gather here in thought, form, and spirit. Thank you. Yeah. So, yes, we did meet. I think it's been exactly 9 years ago. And I was just going through, or really in the middle of a divorce. And that event in my life was so pivotal that it caused a whole chain reaction to have a complete identity crisis and just a revamping of who I am. And it opened me up so much that it caused also what I can only describe as a spiritual awakening. All of a sudden, I let myself feel, but it wasn't just that I was feeling my typical, or what you can describe as typical emotions. I felt like I was feeling people that were far away from me, and I was sensing things that you're not necessarily supposed to sense. And I had no way of grounding that. And lucky enough, I ended up at the school where we met, at the Home of Home, which was a spiritual art school or sanctuary or whatever it was. It was the place, the chosen place to help ground everything that I was receiving that I couldn't explain. And through there, I learned how to do Reiki. I learned how to connect with my guides or my inner guidance. And I even eventually learned how to channel. And it's been the tools that I was given there have helped me, just have provided me with this foundation. And that foundation fell many times, but I didn't give up. And it just really brought forth this path of devotion for me, this devotion into discovering what else can I be and how else can I be of service to the inner journey and to help others. And it's been a beautiful and powerful journey since then. Yeah.
Yeah, I miss that place.
Me too. Me too. It's too bad.
And like there are so many things that we can go into. You've basically devoted your entire life to exploring the spiritual sphere and like communicating and channeling and everything, and like there's so much we can talk about, and we will in future episodes. So like we're gonna have to pace ourselves here. So today we wanted to start with the very basics. So if you are just starting off on your journey, or if you're like curious but not really willing to jump in yet, and you're kind of looking to explore what's what, that's what today's episode is about. So we wanted to start by defining and talking about what the difference is between, or like what is spirituality, what is metaphysics, what is a big big one that I wanted to clear up, what is New Age.
Oh yeah, New Age.
So Rain, how would you define New Age? Like what does that mean to you?
It means a lot of things. I also had to do a little bit of research because it's a hodgepodge, and the internet used the word salad bar. And it is. There is so much associated with New Earth, but a few points that I want to bring forth.
Okay, hold on. You said New Earth.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, okay.
New Age, go on.
So
there's so many things associated with New Age.
So a few points that I would mention about New Age, because there's a few points, and I find they're all true, is there seems to be a stereotype associated with New Age of it's like the hipster, so the person that wants to be like spiritual but isn't quite spiritual, but does things that are spiritual to look really cool, or like to go with like that new Age wave, like, oh look, like I'm smudging and I have my crystals, but there's no foundation or understanding, but it's almost like an invitation to get your feet wet. And there's another one where it's really centered around this whole European idea. Oh, well, it's the Western European or people that are really into New Age. And I'm noticing that, but at the same time, I do think that a lot of the European lines, the deep spiritual lines, so we're talking about probably the Norse, the Celtic, the Slavic, they've been cut off from the land, or those timelines have been dissolved a long time ago. And so there's this movement of wanting to re-indigenize yourself. And New Age is kind of bringing that forth, where people don't have the backing necessarily of like their entire ancestral line, but they're wanting to understand and get connected with the earth. But who is there to teach them? And so it's easy to go, well, it's completely ridiculous, but there is this movement and this call for people to reawaken. However, we're losing our ancestors, and so this is a little bit what's happening with New Age. And a third point that I want to mention is that a lot of the practices that are called New Age, they're not new at all. So they throw, for example, channeling. Well, that's New Age. That's new. It's like, but that's not new. It's been an old practice, and indigenous people and cultures are very familiar with channeling. Whether you're they're chanting or singing, and it's all channeling spirit. It's just different words, different definition. And just because in New Age it might be more popular to go with cosmic ancestors, I think that for me, that makes sense. They're tuning in more to our cosmic ancestry. Doesn't mean that it's wrong. It's just a different way of re-plugging yourself into spiritual work. And so it is definitely a movement that is happening, but I've been noticing that it comes in different waves. So you had the counterculture in the 60s where it was really hip to kind of like let go of religion and try your own thing. And then I looked into it, and there was also the burnt over district in upstate New York. And that was during the early mid 1800s, where like a lot of people got into all different. There was a lot of channeling that happened. There was Mormonism that rose, and then like just people trying to figure out like a different spiritual concept. So yeah, it just comes in waves, but I think it's just this call from Earth to re-indigenize yourself. Yeah.
It almost sounds like humanity keeps attempting to rise up and connect with a higher knowledge. I didn't know about this in the 1800s, but it actually makes sense. One of the things that I heard was that people were starting to get into the whole connective arts right before the First World War, and then because the war hit, what happens to the human consciousness is that it goes down into survival mode. So people are like, okay, it doesn't matter who's out there to be channeled. It doesn't matter who your ancestors were. It matters if you survive today and if you can put bread on the table tomorrow. So it kind of shifted the focus for humanity. And that's happened a couple of times over the past 150 years. So it's actually very interesting to hear that. That's, I mean, it makes sense, but I just never thought about it. But that it started even earlier than that.
Yeah.
I think that at this point, the only thing that seems a little problematic is kind of like the title, New Age. I think at this point in time, a lot of people look at it and use the term diminishingly, almost like, oh, you're one of those new people. Oh, you walk around like Nepalese pants and smell of patchouli. Like that's what
Yeah.
you are. And it makes sense what you said, that people are in Europe as well, like cut off from the ancestry, cut off from the ancestral knowledge. And I think the wars had something to do with that as well, because like with two interruptions over 100 years, especially in that area of Europe. So I come from Croatia, so I understand that personally. It doesn't matter who your great grandfather was. It doesn't matter, like if they did do some sort of psychic work, they were probably hiding it.
Yeah.
Because that wouldn't have been. First of all, they might have been like punished for it, but also the focus was elsewhere. I do find that it's a way in. While the term is not used in the best possible way today, like you don't hear people speak highly of New Age, but it's a way in.
Yeah.
It was a way in for me. Like I didn't have ancestry that could teach me certain things. So what I was attracted to was like witches, and those were like short little pop culture books, and Reiki, and things that were popping up, but it's a way in.
Exactly.
It's a way in.
Yeah.
It can bring you. It's what you do with it. It's not. It doesn't define you. It's just a step.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I didn't have the backing of an ancestral line, and so it's exactly that. Who's there to teach you? And then you got being part of that Western culture. I mean, we're not blessed with the ones that stayed plugged in and have the knowledge that is passed on from generation to generation. So we gotta find a way to dip our toes, and then eventually, yeah, we start to ground and root. But at first, it's kind of like, oh, like I gotta smash, and it's like, why? Um, And it comes out all wrong. It does. But give these people time. Yeah.
I do want to bring up the term bubblegum
Oh, yeah.
spirituality. At this point, you were talking about a teacher using that term.
Yes. My ecstatic dance teacher used that term. And yeah, he was very passionate about like defining bubblegum spirituality and how it's, it's people that are always happy and everything is rainbows and unicorns and oh my goodness, like my life is so amazing and look at me, I'm meditating. And he was so adamant and going like, I meditate every day. I'm angry half the time. I think that the world is falling apart and then I have to cry. And then I go into sacred rage and I just scream with the wind. And then I just go back to doing work with people and I enlighten them. And then I go back to meditate so I can do it all over again. It's like, that's to be awakened. And I was like, okay. And he was like, it's not all rainbows and unicorns. You get. He's like, it's ever changing.
I wanna bring up the difference between spirituality and metaphysics in this moment, just because we're going to be using the terms here and there, so it might be useful to understand what the difference is there. I didn't actually get into the concept of metaphysics until a couple of years ago. I always just called it like spirituality. Oh, I'm doing spiritual things. But what the way it's defined is just that spirituality is an experience. It's a personal experience. And metaphysics is the theory and the exploration and the it's the mental. Metaphysics is mental, and I would say spirituality is personal. But basically they're talking about the same things, that like it's the same concepts, different words and different points of view. So there's no wrong way of labeling it, or wrong way of like the one that gets me is when people insist on using the term, oh, I'm spiritual because I meditate. It's like, no, you're spiritual because you exist. Like spirituality encompasses everything. You've heard of the statement, we're not a body having a soul, we are a soul having a body. We're a soul having a physical experience in a body. Not the other way around. So in that way, everything that exists is spiritual. So using the term I'm spiritual just kind of makes people hate you, I think.
Yeah.
Like it triggers people because it comes back to that to the stereotypes of the new age, where it's people walking around and just saying, oh, I'm like, you're not spiritual, you wouldn't get it. It's like that's just ego. That's ego games. Like as soon as you're presenting even something that like before it was like, oh, you don't have money, you're not cool, or now it's like, oh, you don't meditate, you're not spiritual. And it's just an attempt of the ego to kind of elevate yourself because of something you think you're doing that's better than others. But like the whole concept of this channel is to bring these things down on the ground, see them for what they really are, and make them accessible to everybody. So don't use the term I'm spiritual. Not you, Rain, but
I've been guilty of it. I've been guilty of it.
Well, it's
not
a
anymore.
process,
Yeah.
right? Like you get in somewhere and you're exploring this wonderful new world, and eventually you realize that it's ego games. That ego games like take hold in that realm as well. So it's not like, oh, I meditate or I channel, so I am immune to ego games. They show up wherever you are, and it's like part of the whole development game is to notice when these things are coming up and do something about it. Like one of the things we're going to be talking about later down the line will be shadow work. And that's dealing with the darkness instead of like putting the bubblegum sticker on it. That's actually diving in and doing something about it, clearing it out.
Yeah. 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 Just to add, I really like what you're saying about, I exist, therefore I'm spiritual. I like that. It really puts things in perspective. I do think, yeah, one of the rites of passage, I think, is to shed also not just the ego, or just not shed it, but become aware of it. And then there's also become aware of the spiritual ego, because I had a spiritual ego when I got into meditation after years of diving in, and I really started putting like just really exploring proper meditation. All of a sudden it's like, okay, this is the way. And if you're not not that I'm attacking people, but I was just really passionate about it, especially with my partner. It's like, why aren't you meditating every day? Like, what is your practice? Like, what is your way of connecting? He's like, hey man, you can't preach this like it's religion. It's like, I'm so sorry. So I had to shed a little bit, and bring awareness to my spiritual ego. It's still there. I just keep it in check. And I just have to respect that, everybody's path is their path. They are the way. They cannot be anything other than being the way to that. We're all walking towards light. We are all going there together. And so it's going to look very different for every single person. Yeah.
And I think at this point, it's actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because let's define the ego, because that's also a word that's being thrown about.
Yeah.
And like you said, there's a lot of people saying, oh, you got to shed the ego, you got to shut it down, you got to kill the ego. What I see the ego as is it's your physical personality. It's the guardian of your physical personality. So the knowledge that you've taken in so far, and that you've accepted into your life, and you're saying, okay, these things are important. The physical, like the ego, is here to protect your physical experience. So if you're saying, okay, it's important to meditate, it's important to go for a run every day, it's important to make money, those are like basically programs that your ego is going to be running. So as long as those are your understandings of life, the ego is going to be the guardian of it. So if somebody approaches you and doesn't seem to represent the same values, the ego is going to get triggered. It's going to be like, oh, you don't meditate? Oh, you don't go for runs? Like, oh, you don't like money? Like all those things.
Yeah.
The ego is just a guardian, and it's actually a great tool as well to be able to observe the ego, to see, okay, oh, so that's what I believe right now. Mm-hmm. Like, catch yourself. You'd be like, well, I keep saying these words. I didn't think that I believed that, but there must be something in me that believes it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be repeating it. So I wouldn't like let's not bash on the poor ego. The ego is a part of the structure of physical life that's here to support the physical experience. It's not a bad guy.
No.
It's your program. don't in your program. You did this to yourself.
Yeah. Definitely.
How do you see? What's your understanding?
I like that. I also see it as the ego is kind of like the one that keeps me in check every once in a while. It's like the ego pops in and I go like, oh man, I still have work to do. Every time I think I'm done, it's like, woohoo. Yeah, we need to work on maybe being more compassionate now. And so my ego kind of, it's an annoying friend, but it is still a really good friend that once you understand like what is there to do, it's kind of like, okay, like I need to work more in this area, or kind of like, yeah, shed more awareness and light. But I also think sometimes that the ego is very multidimensional. It's maybe the 6 or first 7 years of life. That's where you develop like the first ego, where you're told how the world works, and that's like really like the core self, the inner child, is very much built sometimes around the ego. And so that's a component that's going to be there like all of your life, but it can evolve into maybe more like the teenager ego, or like the grown-up ego. And then if you venture into like something completely different, it'll follow you, it'll morph into whatever dimension you're in or whatever you're exploring at a time. It's like, this is the ego within this world. Or there's always going to be, I'll give you an example. I live on a ranch, and I was asked to kind of start driving a tractor. And I have the option of just going like, yes, I'll be of service, I'll learn and everything, or I can just listen to this other path going like, oh, you can't do this. Like, this is like not for a woman. This is too scary. Like, you don't know how to do this. And I could say like, okay, well, that's the ego. That's the ego telling me like, don't do it. But I choose to see it as like, that's the ego saying like, are you really going to believe that? It's kind of, yeah. I don't know if I explained it right, but
No, it makes sense because it's like you said. So there's a first ego, teenager ego, adult ego, being a woman ego. Like it's the values that you choose to accept,
mm-hmm.
and those values may have been taught to you like unconsciously. But like you said, it's a good tool, because then you get to catch yourself and be like, wait, do I actually want that to be true? Like, you can't drive a tractor because you're a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that's not objectively true. So it's like, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to keep that as part of your programming, or are you going to do something? Are you going to change it?
Mm-hmm.
How would you, because you use the term spiritual ego as well, like how would you define that?
I think a spiritual ego will enter the realm of when you decide, because for me, spirituality is when I get to know my inner world, my inner guidance, everything that has to do within. And within that world, well, there is still that identity of the ego. It's like that tries to define who you are, or who you should be within that realm. And it's just, I guess it's the ego tries to latch on like a certain identity onto you. And so within the inner world, there is the component of a spiritual ego. And so it'll be different for everyone else. But I've seen people have, for example, like a savior complex, a deep, like, I am the second coming complex. And there, that's the spiritual ego right there. It's it's just this form of identity that wants to latch on and just or not latch on, but I guess bring awareness to what you need to work on within that realm. It's a lot of things. I find the ego is very multidimensional.
Would you say it's like an individuated identity trying to carve itself out, like especially when we go into spirituality, you're dealing with the all that is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of what I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a need for the human mind to find its place in whatever is happening. So if you're at work, it's like, who am I at work?
Mm-hmm.
If you're at home, who am I in this family? Like you have I'm the brother or the mother or the father, and like you carry yourself with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it does define how you do things and what you do. So maybe when we look at a spiritual ego, it's trying to make sense of something that doesn't have limits.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to create boundaries around something that is so incomprehensibly large and and
Incomprehensible. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's like we try to understand that the universe is like as big as it is, and then there are multiple universes, and then that there is no end to existence. How do you comprehend that with your physical limited mind?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like you feel the need to carve out a little box for yourself just to feel safe within it.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Oh, and it's very
it
clever.
can turn.
Yeah. So,
Yes, yeah. And then you can I think just as in a regular physical ego, it can turn into like narcissism, where it turns into I'm the only one who can do this for you, like the savior complex
yes.
that you mentioned. But would you say, narcissism aside, right? Would you say that, like, what would you say is the role of the spiritual ego? Best possible scenario. No psychos.
You have to have a challenger. You have to have something that challenges you. If it was that easy, then you would reach the ultimate limits with no effort. I think the spiritual ego and any form of ego poses as your greatest teacher and your challenger. I go sometimes into like, and my spiritual ego, or what I'm tuning in with, is so clever sometimes. And it's just like, I know that I am just an awareness. And my spiritual ego, when I go into deep meditation, I'm just an awareness. And then my spiritual ego, I can feel it when it wants to dive in. And sometimes when it dives in, it's like, and how does that feel to you? It's almost like this little like, really? So we are awareness. I'm like, just go away. And but it's very clever. And even like when I'm a deep believer that I am not my thoughts, and I observe the thoughts as they come, and sometimes I get mixed up and I get attached to the thoughts, but once in a while the thoughts are aware that I'm not the thoughts. And so they start making me laugh, like in really like in those fun ways of just like, oh yeah, I thought you would like that one, that's a good joke. And it's like, and there's this weird like play with like, who's aware that we're aware that we're aware? And that's my spiritual ego. It's very much a deep challenger, because I mean, it's at the point where it's really helping me, but at the same time, I'm like, you're helping me so much so that you don't go away. I'm like, that's really clever, because I'm at the place right now where I'm practicing not having any thoughts. And I know this is possible. I have heard from many people that it's possible. And because I'm so clairaudient, I'm very tuned into listening. And my spiritual ego right now, it's kind of like, it's helping me so much with good messages and good guidance. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're doing this so that I don't get rid of you. Like that I can't not get rid of you, but like just say thank you. But now I want to go to the place of no thoughts. And how does the spiritual ego live there? I don't know. It's I'm in a weird paradox with that one. But it's a fun one. That's it.
It makes sense because again, it parallels to the physical ego, where it says you are a finite set of characteristics, and then in order for you to level up, for you to develop further, you have to basically shed that ego. But you don't get rid of it, you create a new one, or you upgrade the old one, if you will. So it's like you're saying, that voice that's talking to you in that moment, it's built on your understanding of your own abilities and your understanding of your spirituality, but it is a finite set of characteristics, and you keep changing, you keep growing, so you will have to upgrade your ego. I like that better than shedding it.
Yeah.
This is what I'm gonna call it from now on: upgrading your ego.
Yeah. because I do think it has to follow you some way. It evolves, and like you said, it has to. I think so.
I just want to clarify because you used the term clairaudient earlier, and we're going to get into the all the clairs at a later stage in life. But do you want to just briefly say what it means for you that you're clairaudient?
It means clear hearing. So to me, it personally means that I am able to tune into a higher frequency. And although I can tune into other frequency, but I choose to tune into the higher frequency that are there to support me and love me and guide me. And I venture mostly within the celestial realm. And so I can tune into messages that they want to give me. I can also tune into, what does that mean? Sometimes I can hear when somebody is speaking if they're in alignment with themselves. So I can hear within their vocal cords if they are believing what they say, if there's a distortion there. So I can amplify my hearing to go beyond the physical aspect of life, because we are connected to everything. We are all breathing the same air. And so I can place my awareness beyond just the normal range of what we humans can hear. I can dive into deeper. I can zoom into even hearing their inner child, but there is a clear hearing. So that it means, in a way, hearing without distortion, perhaps.
Right. And so, like, when you're asking for answers about any given topic, or we can say that the way that your intuitive guidance comes through is in the way of sound. So, like, sound brings more information to you. So,
Yes.
clear hearing being maybe you're asking for guidance on a topic, and you might hear a song, and like some people might see a light or a color or a shape. That would be clairvoyance. You might hear a song or a voice or something like that, and that's what we consider clairaudient. Like you're here. That's a fun one. That's a fun. Clairaudience is fun.
It is.
I've had some fun experiences with hearing music.
Oh, yeah.
It's always fun where, like, you think, oh, am I imagining this? But then you get goosebumps and you start to tear up and you're like, this is more than just sound in my head.
There's a message there. Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to bring this back to some of the points that we wanted to cover. I think a big one that is required to, like, start understanding all this, these concepts, is what is God?
Oh, wow.
Simple
Yeah.
question, I
We're
know.
going for the big one.
Like, right? Like, some people, like, I'm just going to throw out the intro here. What some people, like, we are non-religious, so we don't stick to a certain religious interpretation or a Bible, or I don't even know how to express this. We don't
Text. Yeah.
Right, like, we're not explaining this through the eyes of an established church. But one of the terms that is often used is God, and honestly, I used to have a problem using the term God before, when I was, like, very rebellious against the Catholic Church. But now I'm fine. Like, it's just a term. It's just a word. It doesn't matter. Like, it matters what it means to you. But the words that kind of mean the same thing, like, follow along the same lines, we have God, Source, all that is, the Great Spirit. These all pertain to the same things. I don't like how I explain that. You maybe want to go. What is God?
What is God? Well, I want to start with a little bit of how I used to see God, because this is like the upbringing of what I was born into Roman Catholicism. So Roman Catholicism came with its own ideas of what God is, and that's fine for everyone. But when I went through my big existential crisis, I couldn't lock in to what I believe, because the word God for me already had a definition, but that definition didn't match with me. But like there was a block I couldn't get into. And so somebody one day kind of went like, well, why don't you use a different word? And I was like, but what word do I use? And then we settled on divine creator, and that gave me permission to go seek what do I believe in. And so after all this, because after all this, I came to the realization that the term God, and I'm okay with God now, but my term for God is different than what Christians believe as God. For me, God is the all that is. It is everything that is possible and that exists, and it will always remain beyond my human comprehension. There will always be mystery. It is undefined, and I have to come to terms with that no matter how much I seek within, I will never know what God is within my human understanding. It's and for me to try to put that in a certain way is me having some sort of perhaps spiritual ego, because I find that in a lot of in some of the religious contexts, there is in Hinduism, there's a separation when God becomes personified. And they understand that the all that is all that is. And then at some point, the all that is this went into personification. But within the Christian context, God is the loving Father. So God is already personified. So that's where I have trouble with that, is that, well, for me, God is beyond personification. God can choose to personify, but that's a different dimension. I like to stay in, so I call God for me source. And I don't even say the source, because source corrects me every single time. It's like, don't personify me. I am like, it's just source. Source. And it's playful in the understanding of me finding the source of things within, and it goes into many different directions that I will never understand, but it's a presence, it's a force, it is so many things, but it is everything. It is everything. It's the possibility of everything, and it is everything, and yeah. Is it non-existence? I don't even know if that exists. So
Yep.
yeah, that would be my understanding of God. Yeah. And that's not even good. So, yeah.
Well, it makes, like we were talking earlier, with ego trying to put things that are that don't have boundaries, put them into boundaries. So one of those things is trying to conceive of all that is. You can't put it in a box because the box itself is part of all that is. And it's, I think, like you said, you would go crazy if you try to if you try to contain it. Like you'll never understand it. You won't, because it is everything, and we are finite. So like they say humans are a way for God or source to experience itself in a different dimension, in a different aspect. So like in the Bible, oh, God, like everything was everything, and it was great. And then God was like, but what if there was light and dark? And then But what if there was land and water and split? And then it was like, what if there were animals? What if there were humans? Like going into different aspects, going into different little shapes and forms, and each with their own unique perspectives on things. Like that is the whole point. Humans are God personified,
Mm-hmm.
in a very tiny little package. And I think part of growing spiritually is understanding that and being okay with it and appreciating our role in life and not being like, oh, I should be more, or I should be able to connect to God and channel God.
Mm-hmm.
and, and be able to know all the things that are out there. Like, no, we're not. That's not why you're here. You are limited, and that's for a reason. Like that's not a bad thing. You are here to experience life in a very unique way that nobody else can.
Mm-hmm.
Like not even within the scope of other humans who are here to experience things in a similar way, but like you are unique. And like, when we start to look at see ourselves as unique, as valuable, because we are unique, we add a valuable perspective to the all that is.
Mm-hmm.
um, it would not be all that is without us and without our own experience. It's just, oh, it's a very complex. I find it like, like you feel like walking in circles, and just going back and forth. But it's just be happy with what you are, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't try to be God, man.
No.
Um,
But I get these
before
moments. Oh, yeah.
go ahead.
But I get these moments, and I call them like just like little peekaboo moments where like I feel like I become completely lucid, and I have a moment of like pure understanding through some sort of presence, and then it just goes away, and I'm like, no. And that for me, that's also like the all that is kind of playing around, because it's very playful. So even that, I feel like I've had many times in my life where like it's just like I'm given just a little taste of what that could be, and it's like, okay, we're done now. Yeah.
Okay, so let's throw in then the concept of the higher self,
Oh yeah.
because that's also something that is very, like, it's a very popular term. So we have higher self, inner self, true self. I think they all kind of point to the same thing. I prefer the term higher self. So how would you define a higher self?
That's a really good question, because sometimes we use words and we just don't. There's almost like you tune into the frequency of the word, and so you understand it, but you've never went through the process of explaining what you understand. My higher self to me is all possible versions of me. It is the all that is me and all that could be possibly me within this incarnation that calls itself Rain, and could have called herself many other things and has. And it's just my higher self embodies my entire multi-dimensional being and has risen above all of it and is just able to see the grand picture and, I guess, guide me towards source, I would say, or God, or that would be my higher self. It's like my big sister that has walked all the paths before me and knows everything about me, and perhaps even that aspect of pretty much my soul, or is my entire soul, that has never left source, that is still with source.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Maybe the ambassador of source as me. It could be many things.
I see the higher self so like we said, with every human being, an aspect of God or source, uh, in a tiny package. I I see like the higher self is almost like the bigger package. It's like still an aspect from source, but a bigger package than that then goes off into experiencing itself through physical personalities. Um, like I'm Rain right now. I I used to be Cleopatra, or I used to be Mark Anthony. Um, but like those are kind of like the okay. A tree is a good analogy. So when you look at it, you have the trunk of the tree, then you have thicker branches, then you have smaller branches, you have teeny tiny branches, and then you have leaves, and then you have flowers. So it's like the physical personality, physical persona that you are right now is like the flower. But the higher self would be, let's say, a thick branch, and then it goes off into little thing, like it sprouts off into tinier little parts. But ultimately it is also part of the larger picture. It also connects to source. When we cross over, when we die, I don't think you meet your higher self. I think you recognize that you are your higher self,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that you were just playing. You were playing a role. You were playing a role on a stage, in the environment that you incarnated into, and now you bring all that experience back into the branch. You bring it all back with you, and then you can tap into the Cleopatra later on, or other people can. Like the Cleopatra is such a cliche.
It really is. There's so many people reincarnated as Cleopatra. Um, it's such a good example.
Yeah, like I think one of the things we can also get into, in another episode is, I really like Bashar. So for those of you who weren't aware of who Bashar is a channeled entity. Let's leave it at that. But one of the things that he says is that, since there is no past, present, and future. Well, there is no past and future. It's all the present. It's just the perspective of linear time. Like we made it look like there's a past, present, and future for ourselves, which is, it's all part of how we chose to experience this life. But basically, past lives are just parallel existences. So they didn't happen in the past. They're not happening in the future. They're all happening at the same time. And then you can, if you know where to look inside, basically, you can tap into those other personalities, even if they weren't, like, even if they're not yours, because all the tiny little roles and tiny little experiences are brought back to the higher selves, and then brought back to source, and then we're all connected to source. So it would stand to reason that you can tap into anything that's ever been brought to source. Anything that the source has experienced of itself, you can tap into it. And then, like, I agree with what you said, like, and then right now maybe you're just feeling a really strong resonance with the energy of Cleopatra, and then you tap into it really hard, and then some people are like, oh, I must have been this person, this individual in my past life. And that's why there's so many people who are claiming to have been Cleopatra, because we can all tap into that energy. Doesn't mean that we walked the earth as this person. I feel like we've gone into a lot of theory. A lot of high theory.
Yeah.
So maybe let's look at how, like, all this is sounds very out there. But then the way that we bring this down into into everyday life, into how is this important to me, is how this all reflects through our own physical bodies. And so we come to the importance of the physical body. There are a lot of, especially when you're first, actually, I think this is an indicator of somebody who is freshly on a journey of exploring spirituality, is that they don't think the body is important. So when the more you learn, the more you know, the more you understand, the more you recognize that it is actually important to take care of the physical body, because it is the vessel for the soul's experience right now. And if you're all about that spiritual life, it wouldn't, like, this wouldn't exist without you having a vessel to sit in to experience all of that. How do you see the importance of the physical body in the sense of spiritual explorations and spiritual growth?
That's a really good question. It is. It's huge. It's a huge component. How to, I think for me, understand that somehow, having done all the spiritual or inner work that I have done, is to understand that when I come into presence is when I can embody such a high frequency, and I embody it, like I feel it in my body. I have landed, I'm present, and I cannot be present without having my 2 feet on the ground and being here now. Because I'm thinking, like, what does that mean to a soul that has no body? It's just like it's everywhere all at once. But to get an understanding of where I come from and how far I've traveled, sometimes even in going into, for example, land acknowledgement, I can feel like my entire inner world saying to Gaia, I have come from so far to say that I am your daughter. Like, I'm from here. I have a body. I'm walking the earth right now. And for me, that's drawing all my inner world, like the entire backing, and just putting it into here, the physical realm, and saying, I'm here. I am from here now. And when I have that realization of how important that is, like when I get that full moment of lucidity, I go, wow, like I am in a body, like I'm here, I'm here. I am defined within these limitations, and for me that's tremendous. I mean, it's such a small experience to be human, and with all the horrible experience that I have in my past have brought me to kind of go, wow, like this is such a blessing, like to have a body and to experience all that. It's I don't even have words sometimes. It's like, I'm here. I have landed. I'm grounded. And so this is my body. This is my temple. This is what the costume my soul went and go like, hey, we're here. It's very important, Some people say, like, for example, like, don't tattoo your body, like, respect it. I'm like, my body's a temple. I will carve whatever I want on it. Like, it's my temple. If I want to adorn it with jewelries here or there, or like some people put makeup, that is weird to me, but for them, that's their temple. It's like we all came to this party and we're all dressed up as the body is very important. Don't get maybe too attached. You can go into like some dark realms within the body, but I think it's to find that place where there is an understanding of the beauty, the importance, the gift of the body. I think it goes hand in hand with doing spiritual work. The more you dive within, the more your body gets better. So they walk in a parallel. If you've done inner work for, let's say, 10 years, you will not look the same way. Even if you've aged, you will not look, you've gone up somehow. Maybe you're more flexible, maybe you've shed some diseases, maybe but I do believe, and it's not linear, but I do think that your body shifts accordingly to to reflect that growth, because it is the accumulation of all that you are. So yeah.
There's even that old saying that says, the face you have after you turn 30 is the face that you deserve.
Oh, is that an insult or?
No. It's like, before turning 30,
Yeah.
you have like very elastic skin, and like for people who believe in aging, right?
Yeah.
Uh, you have very elastic skin, so things don't settle in. But after turning 30, your face starts taking on the expressions that you most use. So
Oh, yeah.
if you smile a lot, you're gonna have smile lines. If you frown a lot, you're gonna have frown lines. And they're like, it's not even gonna be um when you're frowning, it's just like your resting face is going to be a frown. So that's kind of like, after turning 30, you have the face that your energy mostly embodies. I think that's what they mean by that.
Yeah. Okay. It's good.
But I also think you have a very unique perspective on the experience of the body, and like the experience of being in the body, because you've gone through some hardships in your life, and not you don't have to share anything you don't want to, but I do know that you spent some, like, when you would encounter situations that you didn't want to be in, you would dissociate, like you would kind of leave your body. So how, if because now you have both perspectives. You have the leaving of the body, and you have embodying, like fully embodying the body, and choosing to be here and feeling everything. So how would you compare those two states? Like, what through those experiences, how did the relevance of the body crystallize to you?
So what I'm getting right now is dissociation is diving within, but not being in your body. You're
Mhm.
you're in there somewhere, but you've left. It's escapism. So you're deciding to go within and hide and retreat, but you're deciding not to come back. So you don't have, like, you're not very well anchored in the body. But when you take care of your body, when you do all the practices you need to stay grounded, then you can go and you could travel really far to the depths within, but you will not completely let go. You will stay, your body keeps you in check. It keeps you tied to the here and now. I think for me, dissociation has always been in the past a ghost too, and I understood it through a distortion. I'm just going within, but it was really an escape. It was an escape from any reality, because the theme of belonging in my life has been played out many times. It's been played out through my lineage. My direct lineage on my mother's side is Palestinian. And so this sense of belonging, this sense of being in connection with the earth, I've witnessed this through the trauma that's been passed on to my mother, and then trauma passed on from my mother to me, the sense of belonging. That's been played out also of, like, I don't belong on the earth. And then I had other trauma through surviving sexual abuse, again, where my body isn't safe. I don't belong in my body. It's not a safe place. And so I would dissociate as a way and to be safe. And so what would happen is dissociation becomes in a weird way an anchor, but that anchor takes you further and further and further and further and further away from the body. And then you can end up in a full state of being catatonic, where you are so far somewhere in the body, but you've escaped somewhere and you don't want to come back. And so it's dissociation. It's a form of anchoring, but it's finding you're choosing to take your anchor and put it somewhere else, and you're throwing it in the all that is, and you don't know where the anchor is gonna fall. You're taking the anchor out of the body and saying, this anchoring here, I don't like it. I want it somewhere else, and then you just throw it somewhere, and then you could go. It's a bottomless well, because in the all that is, everything exists. So you can end up anywhere you want in dissociation. And this can last years, decades. You can be dissociated for so long and be on autopilot. That's my understanding of both. It really depends on where your anchor is. Is your anchor your body, or is your anchor something else?
So in terms of feeling powerful or feeling whole, feeling like, because you could argue and say that, oh well, if I throw my anchor into the ocean and say I am the ocean, like that could be a very powerful state. So how does it compare throwing your anchor somewhere versus keeping it in your own body?
Oh, I think my way of answering that is that your body will reflect that. When my anchor was in my body, I didn't eat properly. I barely drank water. I didn't sleep. Like I would go into patterns of non-sleep. You don't take care of the things that help you stay human, because you're not thinking about them. You're not tied to your body anymore. So your body will reflect that. So
This was when you were anchored in your body.
what's that?
This is when you were anchored in your body.
No, this is where I'm not anchoring in the body. So when you're dissociated and you stay dissociated, the impact is that your body will reflect that. Your body will become less present. I was anorexic when I did a lot of those practices. My body reflected that it wasn't anchored. It was just very ghostly. It was just very eerie. And my presence was very just, sometimes I was here and sometimes I was somewhere else. And attention, where's my awareness? If somebody speaks, I would always forget because I was never present. And so the body will reflect that, I think. When you are anchored in your body, then the body really has a heaviness, a presence. It doesn't mean that you have to be big, but people feel the presence of people that are anchored in their body.
How does it feel from your perspective?
Oh.
Would you say that it feels powerful, happy, like sad?
Oh, you know what? It feels all of these things. It feels safe to feel those things. So it's not just, I wouldn't say that I'm always happy. I'm a lot of things. Even like as a devoted person to the inner work, sometimes I'm very serious. I even have the lines to match it. It's because I'm so serious in the devotion. And sometimes it's like, whoa, light it up. You don't have to be so serious about it. And but it's safe to feel all of those aspects. So I feel them. I guess that's what anchoring into the body is. The ability to feel. There you go. Yeah. The ability to feel. And to not.
And the willingness.
Yes. Yeah. The willingness.
You got to be willing.
Yeah. There you go. The willingness to feel. Yeah.
I think it's a big miss for people who are just starting off in spiritual practices, is that they just forget about the body.
Mm.
They forget that that's like what gets them from place to place, and that you don't have emotions if you don't have a physical body. That's also something that is not really that clearly understood. But in the realm of spirit, like that's why we come here. That's why we come for the physical experience, is because of all of the emotions that tag along with it, because we wanted to test it out. We wanted to see how it feels. Like, how does it feel to lose a puppy? I mean, that's like went dark there, but like sadness, like there's so much information in sadness. There's so much compassion that can come from loss. Um, Not just like we learn more from negative experience, calling them negative, but like badly feeling experiences. We learn more from them than we do from the positive ones. Like you said, everybody wants to have the positive ones. Everybody wants to be happy all the time, but that's not life. That's bubblegum spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
And like the reason that I wanted to bring this up is to point it out to people who are on this journey, is just to take care of your body, because you don't have anything if you don't have your body. And if you're feeling like, oh, my body's not important, then that's an indicator of something else for you. That's something you should look at. That's not a healthy place to be.
Mm-hmm.
And by that I don't mean, oh, you should be looking at that. I'm saying there is information there for you. And if you're not feeling safe existing and taking up space, then that is something is affecting that. You you can't just ignore it. You can't just gloss over that and be like, oh no, 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 unicorns and rainbows. I don't matter. You matter. Um, okay, so maybe before we end this episode, we can talk about some specific physical practices that a person can do to feel more in their body. And I find that doing these is it's a good intro to any spiritual practice you do. So if you're meditating, or if you're channeling, or anything, really, honestly, even before having conversations with others, it something that helps you put you into your own body, where you know that this is who I am, this is what I want to say, this is what I'm feeling, as opposed to getting swept up in everything. And that, I think, that is a very important ability to have right now, like especially right now in 2026, with everything that's happening in the world. It's important to be able to know what is you and what is everybody else, because if you have your own anchor, you don't get swept up in the chaos and the drama of everybody around you. You don't get swept up in the opinions of others. You know how to find your own values and your own, like, what is it that you want to experience in this. So let's mention maybe something that our viewers can do specifically physically to help them feel more in their body.
Mm. Okay. I have one that's coming to mind right now, and it's not the one I had necessarily prepared, but there is a practice to really feel in your body, and it's to either close your eyes or lower your gaze. And because if you're not comfortable closing your eyes, if that's too scary, just lower your gaze, focus on something really plain and calming, and just allow yourself to take some deep breaths and feel where you are sitting. And as you're taking some deep breaths, start sensing where the most prominent sensation in your body lives. And so take the time to connect and just right now, just maybe listen to all the different sensations. Maybe there's something itchy in your knee or something going on in your shoulder, but just listen to a little bit everything, and then eventually you will stumble on a sensation in the body that is the most prominent. And then just look at it. And every time there is a story that wants to pop up, let go of the story and just keep focusing on that sensation. And then give it some air, give it some breath. And then if you do this long enough, and it's really cool and awesome, is that you will notice that the energy will shift. And you can almost consider it that was a place of stagnancy. And now that you're placing your awareness of it, let's say if it was in your shoulder, it goes somewhere else. And it's asking you to follow it. So you follow it to wherever it decides to pop back next. And then you embark on this really beautiful journey of energy and motion within your body, where you follow the trail of sensation like a beautiful dance within the body. And then you follow it to completion. And when you follow it to completion, if you can let yourself go there, and I understand some of us that do that, it can be a little bit scary because there's maybe deep pain. And let's understand, though, that sometimes pain becomes more painful because there's a story that wants to attach itself to the pain. But the pain is not the story, and the story is not the pain. So you just keep on the sensation. If you can, don't go to a place that is not okay to go. And just keep practicing until you can follow that trail and set it free. And if you can come to the point of complete release, then you get a really nice moment of truth, of what it wanted to show you, and that beautiful dance, that everything is always changing. There is no permanence there, that even the most annoying feeling, if you could just stay with it long enough and just breathe and just let any stories detach from it and just continue to be willing to just put awareness on it. Follow the entire circuit until it's free, and then say thank you. And that really, really places you in your body and really brings awareness to the inner world of how energy is sitting in your body right now. Sometimes when I have a headache, I will just do that and just let the headache, I say, I'm so sorry, I haven't been paying attention to you. Please show me where you want to go. And I let it do its dance, and then it'll just set itself free. And I just go, wow, that's really beautiful. So, and at the junction of freedom, this is where it started. So maybe like I have a headache now, but my headache really started from my elbow. And then I get a little bit of a moment of awareness of like, oh, I did hit my elbow like 2 weeks ago and I wasn't paying attention to that. And I kept on going. And then now I have a headache. But it's a really good practice that brings more awareness to what's going on in the body.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. It's very simple.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right when I find that oftentimes the things that are actually bothering me, my consciousness is trying really hard not to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like wah 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 wah. How long have you been there?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just so easy to do. We tend to run from pain.
Mm-hmm.
We because we think if I pay attention to it, it's going to hurt more.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, paying attention to it will make it hurt for a shorter amount of time because it's going to start opening up. I really like that exercise. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you for sitting down to talk to me today. I know this was this was a very chaotic day for both of us.
It just had to be that way.
It's the spring equinox today.
Yes.
So I really wanted us to sit down today and have a conversation because like these celestial moments are big gateways, and I really wanted us to do this today. So I'm glad everything kind of arranged itself to allow for that.
Me too.
I'm looking forward to our future conversations as well. We already have a list that we want to talk about in the future, but we always end up bouncing things and situations off of each other somehow. There's a karmic parallel in there somewhere. So I'm sure we'll have a lot more fruitful conversations.
Yes, I'm excited for this journey, and many blessings to your podcast. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Well, thank you for having me.
My absolute pleasure. Oh, and if people want to learn more about you and maybe work with you, where can they find you?
Right.
What can they find you for?
Okay, they can go on my website, cerebrosoul.ca. And basically, I'm the founder of Cerebro Soul, and it is a place of self-discovery, of healing, and guidance that anybody wants to receive from their world within. So wherever you're at, whether you just want to start or if you're really a long way down your journey, I'm here to assist you if you feel a call to come see me. And perhaps the call is just to come and read the website. I have currently 4 offerings, and they vary between channeled work, energy work, and some removing of stagnant energies. And yeah, I'm here to assist if anyone feels a call. I also have a manuscript that is coming out soon, and it's my entire spiritual journey captured through poetry and surrealism. So that's going to be, it's in the prints now, and so it's going to be up on the website within the month. And so if anybody is interested in purchasing that, they can contact me as well through the website. And I will be starting.
And that's not your first book.
Oh, well, it's the collection of everything. So now they're all combined into one, and they reflect different aspects of the spiritual journey. Mm-hmm.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
And you were saying what's coming up?
Also a podcast soon enough. But this is where we're at now. But eventually, perhaps in the summer, there'll be a podcast starting.
And we'll have more conversations throughout summer, and you can give us updates as to how that's coming along.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited. Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me today again. If you have any questions for Rain or any suggestions for topics that we can discuss in the future, let us know in the comments below. Otherwise, it helps us. It helps the channel if you subscribe. And I hope you found this useful, and I hope to see you again. Smoke bomb.
Smoke bomb.